After 380 days, Manchester United finally get a win in Europe. And you know what? I'll absolutely take that. We needed a win to get us up the table in the Europa League. And you know what? The second half was all right. It's not the best game in the world. It's not the most convincing game in the world. But it's a win. We deserve to win. I think just looking at who the opposition were, you'd like us to play a little bit better at times. Sometimes the intensity lacked. But you know what? I don't care. We won. AMAD Diallo makes a big point, a big statement today. Fantastic performance from him. And I have to say, if I'm Eric Ten Hag watching that, thinking my job's on the line and I brought Anthony on and benched this AMAD guy for a month, I'd be thinking, what agenda does he have against AMAD Diallo? Mazraoui also really impressed me, by the way, guys. I think Casemiro's looked better. I thought Bruno had a good second half but a poor first half. And I do feel a bit sorry for Rasmus Højlund at the moment. Evans, Lindelof did well. Onana made some good saves. Clean sheet. We were the better team. We had the higher XG, created the more big chances. But it wasn't like clear-cut night and day, but we were the better team for sure. The best player on the pitch, without a doubt, is AMAD Diallo. There's no point even asking you guys who your man of the match is because it surely has to be this guy. I also want to talk about Ugarte because I actually felt when we took Ugarte off, we lost a bit of control in midfield because of the legs and the ground and the coverage. We'll talk about that as well. But we've got to talk about AMAD, who maybe was chasing a hat-trick had he not come off injured, but hopefully not a serious injury. He looked fine when he came off. 57 touches, 10 touches in the box, but 5 dribbles, 5 shots, 4 ball recoveries, 3 tackles, 3 shots on target, 2 goals. What's a performance from AMAD? And the 4 ball recoveries stand out for me because it wasn't just a good performance on the ball. I thought he was good on the ball. He made some dribbles. I think his first touch ability to receive the ball in tight spaces, tight angles, and use his body and actually his like sort of center of gravity in those tight spaces to sort of manipulate defenders and find space and then thread a pass is really good. But it was the out of possession desire he showed. It's like he wanted to say, I've not started a game in like 5-6 weeks. You know, and this is why I should be starting. There's the desire he gave, the chasing to win the ball back and everything. And that second goal purely came through that desire. And what a well-taken second goal. And, you know, I'm so happy for him. And hopefully we see him get some minutes in the Premier League. But his technical ability on the ball is fantastic. And I say he is made for Amorim ball. And I'm not just saying this because he's played well. And I've watched Sporting. I know a bit about Amorim's system because I had to do a lot of research on him back in March, April time. And he likes his forwards narrow. AMAD at Sunderland played right mid, right wing at Sunderland, but AMAD was almost operated as a right-sided number 8 or a right-sided number 10 at Sunderland in the half space, something that Kulusevski's done, something that Palmer's doing more recently, rather than a touchline winger. Amorim likes his forwards to be more narrow, sort of come in as 10s at times. AMAD Diallo suits that to an absolute T. And when you look at his sort of skills as a player, his technical skills, his close control, his touch, his crossing, his passing, his creativity, they are all top notch. He's almost creative winger. He's actually ranked 7th in Europe's top 5 leagues for progressive runs, which people take in the mick out. Oh, he's posting that he ranks 7th. That's really good. I think progressive runs, meaning he gets the ball up the pitch. He makes things happen. He can dribble. He's our most creative player. You know, chances per minute. He ranks first out of all United players. His close control's good. He retains the ball well. I think his decision-making's the best. He doesn't look to shoot. He's probably the least selfish of our attackers. And he provides balance. I think Garnacho and Rashford are so similar that they should be battling it out, but AMAD should have the right because I think the balance, he offers a different dynamic to Rashford and Garnacho. He's a pass-first winger, not a carry-first winger, but he's also a very good carrier. But I think he just does really well in those central areas, and I think that's where Amorim will want him. I think he could thrive under Amorim, and if Amorim's watching today, which I'm sure he will be, I think AMAD Diallo is in good hands, and I think hopefully we get his new contract down. He's smiling, he's showing some happiness. Ten Hag is gone, and I don't like to say AMAD is smiling and happy because Ten Hag is gone, but it doesn't take a genius to say he looks a lot happier now that Ten Hag is gone, but I think he could do really well in Amorim's system. I thought him and Mazraoui on the right-hand side was the only thing I liked about the first half, the first 20 minutes. Then we phased out in the first half a bit. Second half was really good, but I thought AMAD and Mazraoui, 2 of our best players on the ball, 2 of our best players in terms of technicality, ball retention, tight spaces. I love seeing them together on the right-hand side. They have a real connection. I think AMAD Diallo and Mazraoui were the 2 best players on the pitch. They have a standout connection. They can read each other really well. I think AMAD also, just as I said earlier, I think he brings a bit more creativity than most of our other wingers. If I was going to be totally honest, I think he, the stats back that up. He's a pass-first winger. He's a little bit less selfish. Work rate, movement, runs were fantastic off the ball. As I said, yes, he'll give the ball away here and there. Yes, he's not perfect, but there's so many good traits that AMAD has. And I think when he gets the ball, he looks to get forward and make things happen and have that determination that was needed today. So guys, if AMAD Diallo was your man of the match, please go ahead and hit that like button. He was my man of the match today by country mile. I'm so happy for him, and he deserves that. And you know what? He hasn't been fairly treated. Forson was playing over him last year. Forson. And then we've also had, Anthony come off the bench over him. He had that really good game versus Southampton. He didn't have a great game versus Porto. And then he had held the bench for a month. It's like he puts in 2 or 3 really good performances, deservedly plays because he's playing well. Has one bad game and he holds the bench for a month, where so many other Man United players have one bad game and then they start and actually they have 10 bad games in a row and continue to start. The treatment that AMAD Diallo had gotten was completely unfair. Let's be totally honest about it. Anthony coming on over him on 2 occasions when Ten Hag's job's on the line. I don't know what that was about, if I'm going to be honest. No disrespect to Anthony, but it doesn't take a genius to say that AMAD deserves better. And as Central Devils said here, that is what persistent hard work and tenacity gets you. AMAD didn't give up, pressed the player, won the ball, calamity, nested it in the corner, and that's for AMAD's goal. And do you know what? The hard work he's shown as well. He's had a lot of setbacks, injuries, not been given a fair chance after his after his very good loan spell at Sunderland. I'm glad that he got his flowers today. Now, I actually think that I liked the subs, but I didn't like the Ugarte sub. I would have taken Casemiro off because these are 2 points that was made up. Ugarte off and the midfield legs drops by 50%. Taking off your 6 to revert to Bruno Eriksson, suddenly you look more passive, concede territory and struggle to win the ball. Really questionable. And I agree with this from Muppeteers. I felt that we were 1-0 up, it was going well, but I felt it was going to be an FC20 repeat. Before AMAD's second goal, there was a 10-minute period where Ugarte was off and it was poor. And we looked like it was going to be an FC20 and a 1-1. And we weren't moving the balls well and we weren't attacking as much. And I felt that we were lucky that AMAD got that second goal because it could have been very different in that sense. It could have been 1-1. I felt that Ugarte had a good game. But what Ugarte does, I've noticed, is he improves whoever's playing next to him. Ugarte might not be the nicest player to look at and watch, but he's a good player that does an underrated job that I think Casemiro is playing his best football when he is next to Ugarte, because Ugarte has the legs to cover the ground and win the ball back. He takes that responsibility off Casemiro. And actually, now that Casemiro doesn't have that responsibility, you're seeing the creative side of Casemiro and how good he can be. Now, look, it wasn't the best game in the world. We deserve to win. I think we're better under Ruud than we are under Ten Hag, but we're still a long way off. And I think Amorim will come in and it's not going to be crazy better under Amorim, because I felt that we lacked intensity in that first half. And Amorim, if you watch the Sporting City game, is so reliant on intensity from his players. So he's got to find a way to get intensity out of the United players, which no one has happened to do. But I do think we need Amorim in. We need a change, because I do think there was a lot of similarities today to Ten Hag, and I can't wait for Amorim to get started. My general thoughts was the game was not great. The first half, we were the better team, but slow and lacking ideas. Considering the opposition, I would have liked some more in the first half. I did think we were good in the second half. But when we made the subs, I thought it could have gone 1-1. I thought Højlund got 0 service. I like him, but I have to say his touch was poor today. But whenever Højlund gets the ball, they play it to him when he's marked by 50 players. When Højlund makes a good run, I feel like no one passes to him. Evans and Lindelof good. Free clean sheet there. And Nana made some good saves. AMAD was man of the match. Casemiro and Ugarte, I like Ugarte's legs were important, as I said. Can't wait for Amorim to get in, if I'm being honest. But I think Casemiro looks better at the moment. I think him in this 8 role, where he's not having to do all this off-the-ball work, because I think where Casemiro's declined is off the ball. He doesn't have the legs. He's not doing as well off the ball. When he's on the ball, his passing's been quite good. His creativity's been quite good. I think it was him that played a good ball into AMAD or Garnacho or someone as well. And he just looks a lot better going forward at the moment. I think his passing's improved, and I think Ugarte brings that out of him. And I also felt that Ruud van Nistelrooy does set up the midfield a bit closer, so there's not massive spaces. I actually thought Bruno Fernandes had a really good second half. People were trying to make up Bruno was poor. Now, Bruno did, in my opinion, have a bad first half. If I was going to be totally honest, I don't think Bruno did anything in the first half. But I thought in the second half, not only did he get the assist, but he influenced the game so much, in my opinion. I'm going to get Bruno's game numbers up here because I forgot to add it to the PowerPoint. But the amount he was creating, we were lacking that creativity. And yes, he gives the ball away, it's frustrating at times, but the amount he was creating, it helped us unlock the games. He got the assist today, but 3 ball recoveries, 7 chances created, 5 successful long passes, 7 attempted. And Wilder's passing was a lot better and more accurate. And I think that Bruno Fernandes is on an absolutely better track as well. If I'm going to be honest, I just think he's been getting a lot of stick. I think he looked a lot better. He now has 9 direct goal involvements across all competitions. The only player with more is Garnacho. His touches and balls into the final box were a lot better today. Obviously, the assist for AMAD's goal. And people say Bruno Fernandes had a bad start, by the way. He's now up to 8 goals. He means 9 this season, 5 of which have come in the last 6 games. He is starting to find that little bit of form. The only concern, I think, could be around Højlund, but I think United Arena describes this quite well. Højlund, man, I get it's still raw and has his faults, but the team really it isn't set up for him at all. Wingers want to score and impress by shooting. Midfielders are passing early to wider runners. He's almost always passed whilst marked heavily. Pass to whilst marked heavily. He can do better, but he's not helped. Højlund maybe needs to do better to find space, but Højlund does run his arse off and find really good space and make really good runs, and I feel like no one picks him out. So I feel sorry for him, but I'm going to say if Xerxes had the performance Højlund did today, the amount of sticks Xerxes would be getting, the amount of people that be saying sell that bum if Xerxes put in that performance, I think you've got to realise it's not Xerxes, it's not Højlund, it is the system. I generally believe that. Thank you for watching. Bye.